Wednesday matchup at 205 pounds between Ovince Saint-Preux and Ilir Latifi.
Ready to fight? Ready.
Hey guys, my name's Connor from UK Gaming Bureau, and today we're going to be doing our fight simulation and prediction for OSP versus Ilir Latifi. So to start off, we're going to look at both of their records. OSP is coming into this fight 22-10, and Ilir Latifi is coming in 13-5. Now, Ilir Latifi, his last 5 fights, he is 4-1, so obviously he's won 4 of them, lost 1 of them. That one loss was a knockout loss to Ryan Bader, who of course is no longer in the UFC. He got knocked out with a flying knee in the second round. He was losing that fight anyway, but it was a vicious knockout and he took a lot of time off. Recently at UFC 215 he took on Tyson Pedro and he won by decision. And he's also beaten John Vellante, he's beaten Cyril Diabate. He's got some good wins on his record, but I would say straight away he's got no one of the quality of OSP on his record. It seems like when he takes a step up in competition, like Gegard Mousasi or Jan Blachowicz or Ryan Bader, he tends to lose that fight. So he hasn't really had that one big win yet, so I think he'll be looking for that against OSP. Now onto OSP's record, he has fought a lot of guys. He's also fought Ryan Bader and he lost by decision. He has a knockout win over Shogun Rua, a knockout win over Patrick Cummins. He's had quite a few losses as well. He's lost to John Jones, Volkan Ozdemir, Jimmy Manuwa, Glover Teixeira. But if you look at it, those are all very high level established guys. Like obviously John Jones, arguably the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Glover and Ozdemir both fought for the title. Jimmy Manuwa is capable of knocking out anyone. So, you know, when he loses to people, he tends to lose to these well-established guys, which I don't believe Latifi is. Now, OSP recently is on a 3-fight win streak. He has 2 by submission, and his most recent against Corey Anderson was a knockout by head kick. So now to break down sort of how each of them fight. Ilir Latifi is definitely more of a grappler, but he's built like an absolute tank, and he hits very, very hard. He hasn't scored a knockout win since 2016, early 2016. But he's still got that power. You don't lose that power. I'm sure he's been training on his boxing and striking. And OSP has been known to be a little bit chinny at times. So a knockout win is definitely possible for him. But what I'm looking at more for him is his wrestling and his grappling in general. I can definitely see him being able to take down OSP, even though OSP is a very good wrestler himself. So with that power in his hands, as well as how good his grappling and his wrestling is, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him take a decision win here. Now we'll have a look at OSP. He has a lot of wins by submission. More specifically, he has a lot of wins by Von Flue choke, which is very rare. Before OSP came around, there had only been 2 Von Flue chokes in the UFC. There's now been 5 of them, and he's got 3 of them. So this is definitely a technique that he has perfected. It's essentially when someone goes for a guillotine on you, and then you choke them out because they're still holding on to the guillotine. It's very hard to do, but he seems to have mastered it. I don't really see him being able to pull off a Von Flue choke in this fight, purely because I don't see Latifi going for a submission himself. I don't see him going for a guillotine especially. As well with OSP is he's a southpaw, and his left body kick, or his left head kick, just his left kicks in general, are vicious. I expect him to land a lot of those to his body and occasionally mix out to the head, which is exactly what he did with Corey Anderson. He was throwing those to the body all night, then he threw one straight to the head, Corey went to block low, knocked him out cold. It's also worth mentioning that Ovince Saint-Preux is, I believe, 6'3", 6'4", whereas Ilir Latifi is 5'10". So there's a big height advantage for OSP, there's also a big reach advantage. When it comes to power, I would favour Latifi, but OSP, when he strikes, he doesn't strike he's not very orthodox with his striking. If you put him in a boxing ring, he'd look completely out of place. He doesn't box normally, for lack of a better word. He just hits at very unorthodox angles, which is very hard to train for, because you don't train for someone who's unorthodox. You don't expect someone to be throwing uppercuts and elbows at these weird angles. So you could definitely catch Ilir Latifi with one of these weird techniques. Now, on paper, you'd think that OSP should be winning this fight, and I would agree, but if you look at stylistically how they match up, it's very interesting, because they have good grappling, even though OSP doesn't use his wrestling much, whereas Latifi does, and they both have power in their hands, but OSP also has it in his kicks as well. What I think is going to be crucial in this fight is whether it's on the ground, whether it's standing up. If it's on the ground, whoever's on top is winning, because neither of these guys really shows any offense from their back, especially not Latifi. If OSP manages to take Latifi down, I really can't see Latifi getting back up, whereas if Latifi does take OSP down, I'm sure he could at least threaten with maybe a guillotine himself. But if they're standing up, it could get close. I think it's going to depend on who lands that first big shot, and I'm definitely favouring OSP to land something big first. When Latifi takes a step up in competition, for example Jan Blachowicz or Ryan Bader, he gets finished very quickly. Whereas when OSP fights a step up in competition like a John Jones or a Volkan Ozdemir. He didn't look great in most fights, but he was never finished. Obviously, he was knocked out against Jimmy Manuwa, and Glover managed to submit him as well. But he was never completely dismantled, whereas when Latifi loses, he is completely dismantled. So for that reason, I'm picking OSP to win this fight. I just think he's got more experience. I think he's got more weapons to finish this fight as well. I feel like Latifi is either going to have to keep him down and try and win a decision, or he'll have to try and hit him with an overhand or an uppercut and try and knock him out. Whereas OSP can submit him, he can knock him out, he can win a decision, he can use his length, he can use his range. I just feel like OSP has more ways to win. So I'm going to go with an OSP decision win. So our EA Sports UFC 3 simulation of OSP versus Ilir Latifi ends in the second round with a victory for Ilir Latifi by a rear naked choke at 3 minutes 55 seconds.
And if you're planning on watching this fight, let us know in the comments below, either on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter, and let us know your prediction and we can see if anyone gets it right after the fight. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below, and as always, to see more videos coming soon, please subscribe to the channel.